Polysaccharides means they contain more than 10 types of monosaccharide units in their structure. Polysaccharides, they contain more than 10 monosaccharide units in their structure. So polysaccharides are classified into two types: monosaccharide, homopolysaccharide and heteropolysaccharides. Homopolysaccharides means in this homopolysaccharides all the sugar units are made up of only one type of monosaccharide unit. All the monosaccharide units are of single type in case of homopolysaccharide. Heteropolysaccharide means more than one type of sugar units are present in this heteropolysaccharides. So homopolysaccharides means made up of same type of monosaccharide unit. Heteropolysaccharides means they contain more than one type of monosaccharide units in their structure. So let us see what is homopolysaccharide, and there are some examples for homopolysaccharides we will discuss. Now homopolysaccharides, they made up of only one type of monosaccharide unit, as I told. Homopolysaccharides means they made up of only one type of monosaccharide unit. So examples for homopolysaccharides, if you see examples of monosaccharides, if you see starch, glycogen, cellulose and inulin. Starch, glycogen, cellulose and inulin. So starch, if you see the starch is a plant reserve food material. Starch is stored as a reserve food material and is synthesized in the photosynthesis process and is stored in the plants. And the same starch we also take as a diet. Glycogen is called as the animal starch. This is stored in the animals only. Glycogen cannot be seen in plants. Cellulose is an example for homopolysaccharide. Starch, glycogen, cellulose, all these three homopolysaccharides are called as glucosons because the repeating unit in case of these three compounds is glucose. Repeating unit in case of starch, glycogen and cellulose is glucose. Since the repeating units are glucose, these three compounds are called as glucosons. Homopolysaccharides example: starch, glycogen, cellulose. These three are called as glucosons. Another example for homopolysaccharide is inulin. See the spelling: inulin, I-N-U-L-I-N. It is not insulin. Don't get confused. This is inulin. Inulin is another homopolysaccharide. Inulin is made up of repeating units of fructose. So that is why it is called as fructosan. Glucosan means examples: starch, glycogen, cellulose. These three are examples for homopolysaccharides. They are called as glucosans because the repeating unit in starch, glycogen and cellulose is glucose. Whereas inulin, if you see inulin, this inulin is made up of fructose. The repeating units in inulin is fructose, so that is why it is called as fructosan. So these homopolysaccharides, they play a vital role in the energy storage in the body, and they are also involved in the structural formation. Let us see the examples of homopolysaccharides one by one. Starch is the first and foremost important example for homopolysaccharide. Starch is a homopolymer of glucose. Means the repeating units in case of starch is glucose. Starch sources, if you see the sources for starch, it is mainly present in cereals, potatoes, legumes, nuts. Okay, cereals, potatoes, legumes and nuts. The starch mainly, even the rice also is made up of starch. Okay, so starch is the major food that we also consume in our diet. Composition of starch, if you see, it consists of two peculiar units in its structure. One is called amylose and the other one is called amylopectin. Starch composed of two units, amylose and amylopectin. Amylose is about 15 to 20% of the total starch, and amylopectin is about 80 to 85%. So amylose, if you see, this contains non-branching helical structure. This is non-branching and helical structure, whereas amylopectin is highly branched and consists of 24 to 30 glucose residues united by alpha-1,4 glycosidic bonds, and alpha-1,6 glycosidic bonds are present at the branch points in case of amylopectin. So starch is composed of two components, amylose and amylopectin. Amylose is water soluble, whereas amylopectin is water insoluble. Amylose consists of glucose units which are all linked by alpha-1,4 glycosidic bonds. So there is no branch points in case of amylose. Whereas amylopectin is highly branched structure with ranging 25 to 30 glucose residues in its structure with alpha 1,4 glycosidic bonds, and alpha 1,6 glycosidic bonds are present at the branch points. So this is the structure of glucose showing amylose and amylopectin. Amylose, see, there is no branches. If you see the amylopectin structure, see, this is a branch. There is a branch. So near the branch points, the glycosidic bond is alpha 1,6 glycosidic bond. Whereas this glycosidic bond, this glycosidic bond, this glycosidic bond is only alpha 1,4. So this is alpha 1,4 glycosidic bond, this is alpha 1,4, this is alpha 1,4 glycosidic bond. Whereas at the branch points, if you see, this glycosidic bond is alpha 1,6 glycosidic bond. At branch points, alpha 1,6 glycosidic bond is present. Without branch points, all are alpha 1,4 glycosidic branch points. So amylose consists of 250 to 300 glucose residues linked by alpha 1,4 glycosidic bonds. There will be twist into the helix with 6 glucose residues per turn. So polymer, this is somewhat helical structure, but there is no branch point. It is a single branch which undergoes turnings, twists and turnings like a helix. Whereas amylopectin, if you see amylopectin is highly branched. So many branch points are there. This is highly complex. So at the branch points, it consists of alpha 1,6 glycosidic linkage, and other than branch points, the glucose molecules are linked by alpha 1,4 glycosidic bonds. So one branch is seen after every 24 to 30 glucose residues in amylopectin, and approximately 80 branches can be seen in case of amylopectin. So this is how the helix in amylose, starch amylose, can be seen like this. Coming to the properties of starch, you all know that starch can react with iodine. So this is a sensitive test for the identification of starch. So when the starch reacts with the iodine, it gives blue color. It gives blue color, and that disappears on heating and reappears on cooling. So non-reducing property is number of free sugar groups is negligible in case of starch. Hydrolysis of the starch yields succession of compounds decreasing molecular size. Okay. So the hydrolysis of starch, if you see, starch on reaction with iodine, it gives blue, and soluble starch, blue color again with iodine. Amylodextrin, purple color. Erythrodextrins, red color. Acrodextrins, no color. Maltose, no color. Because to give a positive test with the iodine, it minimum requires some 10 glucose residues to answer this. Starch is hydrolyzed by the enzyme called amylase. Amylase acts on starch and converts the starch into maltose plus dextrins. And maltose plus dextrins further hydrolyzed by the enzyme maltase into and releases the free glucose molecule. So starch on acid hydrolysis also liberates free glucose molecules. Limit dextrins are produced are the products that are formed after beta amylase enzyme action on starch until no further action is observed. So that is about starch. Another example for homopolysaccharides is glycogen. Glycogen is called as animal starch. Actually starch is present in the plants only, but glycogen is called animal starch because glycogen is the storage of the glucose molecules in the animals. Glycogen is the storage molecules of glucose in the animals. That is why glycogen is called as animal starch. This is the storage form. Glycogen is the storage form of glucose in the animals. This is a homopolysaccharide made up of glucose units. The carbohydrates are stored in the form of glycogen in the liver and in the skeletal muscle of animals. So glycogen is stored in the liver and in the skeletal muscle. So this is the glycogen is the storage form of carbohydrate in animals. That is why it is called animal starch. Glycogen, if you see, this is highly branched and compact when compared to the starch structure. Compared to the starch, glycogen structure is complex. The molecular weight of glycogen, if you see, it ranges from 10 lakhs to 40 lakhs daltons. As molecular weight is very high, glycogen exerts little osmotic pressure in the cells, and liver cells can store the glycogen with a small space. Liver cells stores the glycogen. So this is how the glycogen looks like. This is highly branched. So these are all dots are 1 glucose units. All these glucose units are in the single line are linked by alpha 1,4 linkages. But this is a branch which is from the parent strand. So this is a branch point. This branch point, this particular first glucose with the branch point makes alpha 1,6 glycosidic linkage. See here the branch point contains alpha 1,6. But all other glucose molecules are linked in 1,4 glycosidic linkage. Again here there is another branch. This branch there is a 1,4-1,6 glycosidic linkage. So alpha 1,4 and alpha 1,6 glycosidic linkages are also present. The same structure similar to that of starch is seen in glycogen. Only difference between starch and glycogen is the number of glucose units and the branching points in starch and glycogen are different. So here in this slide I have shown the difference between the starch and glycogen. Amylopectin is nothing but starch. So you think amylopectin as starch and this is glycogen. So if you see the difference between starch and glycogen, there are 25 internal glucose units are present in amylopectin per turn. But in case of glycogen there is only 11 glucose molecules are present per turn in case of glycogen. And about 13 to 18 glucose units are forming the exterior branch. Whereas every 6 to 7 glucose units there is a exterior branch for glycogen, and between the branches if you see 5 to 6 glucose units will be there between the branch points in case of starch, whereas glycogen every 3 to 4 glucose units there is a branch. Means this is highly branched, highly complicated, highly coiled glycogen. So glycogen is much more complicated compared to the starch. So same way as that of starch, glycogen also contains alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkages. At all glucose molecules are linked in the glycogen by alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkage. Whereas at branch points, the branch point glucose molecules are linked by alpha 1,6 glycosidic linkage. But again from the branch point, these glucose molecules are continued with 1,4 glycosidic bonds. So glycogen. If you see the glycogen, this is mainly stored in the liver, and this is the major energy source in the body during fasting condition and during starvation. So muscle glycogen, which is stored in the skeletal muscle, acts as a local energy reservoir for the muscle cells. So glycogen is stored in the liver and muscle. So that is second example of homopolysaccharide is over. Now third example of homopolysaccharide is cellulose. Cellulose is a homopolysaccharide, is a carbohydrate which is abundantly present in the nature. You know that plant cell wall is made up of cellulose. So in all plant, you take any plant, all the plant cells are made up of, contains a cell wall, and the cell wall is made up of cellulose. So cellulose is a homopolysaccharide which is made up of glucose, repeating units of glucose. In the cellulose, all the glucose molecules are linked by beta 1,4 glycosidic linkages. So the glycosidic bond is beta 1,4 glycosidic bond between the D glucose units in case of cellulose. So the beta 1,4 linkages and intra-chain hydrogen bonds. So hydrogen bonds are formed between the chains of the glucose molecules in the cellulose. They don't allow to form helix. So helix is not formed in the cellulose. They spread like a sheet. Instead of forming into helix. Whereas if you remember starch and glycogen, they can form like a helix. But cellulose, since it is a beta structure and there is these chains, they develop hydrogen bonds also among themselves. So these hydrogen bonds will not allow the glucose molecules in the cellulose to develop into helical structure. So instead of helix, they spread like a sheets. So this offering of this sheet-like structure in the cellulose offers the stability to the cell wall of the plant cells. So they provide rigidity to the cell wall of the plant cells. Importance of cellulose: if you see cellulose, we take lot of plant food material as a diet. So this plant consists of the cellulose. Plant cells consist of cellulose as their cell wall. This cellulose cannot be digested by the humans because there is absence of enzyme which can cleave the beta 1,4 glycosidic bonds in human beings. Human beings, they don't have the enzyme which can cleave beta 1,4 glycosidic bond. That enzyme name is cellobiase enzyme. This cellobiase enzyme is absent in case of human beings. So Human beings, they don't have cellulobiase enzyme, so they cannot digest the cellulose. So this is an important source of bulk in the diet. So even if we are eating lot of plant food, cellulose cannot be digested, but it can form like a bulk to the food material. It acts like a fiber for the food material. Herbivores like goats, cow, sheep, those things, rabbits, those things those animals which are eating this plant as a major food material, they can digest this cellulose, because they contain some herbivores like rabbit and all. If you see, their intestine contains some bacteria which can hydrolyze this cellulose enzyme. That is, cellulobiase enzyme is produced by some bacteria in their intestine, so they digest the cellulose, and glucose is released by the action of this bacteria. So glucose is absorbed from the intestine in such herbivore animals. So that is about cellulose. Cellulose mainly acts as a bulk, adds bulk to the food, and this is a mainly fiber, dietary fiber content of the food. That is about cellulose. Next example for homopolysaccharide is inulin. This is called fructosome. All now 3 examples which we have discussed, that is starch, glycogen and cellulose, these 3 are called as glucosome. They are made up of glucose molecules. But inulin is a homopolysaccharide which is made up of fructose. The repeating unit in inulin is fructose, that is why it is called as fructosome. If you see the structure of inulin, all the inulin is made up of D-fructose units. They are all linked by beta-1,2 glycosidic bond. In the insulin, beta-1,2 glycosidic bond is present. The source of inulin, if you see the tubers and roots of dahlia plant. Dahlia plant roots and tubers are rich sources of inulin. Dandelion and bulb of onion, garlic which we use is also a good source of inulin. So this inulin is a best marker for the GFR estimation. GFR means glomerular filtration rate. So the inulin can be used for the testing of kidney functions. So because this is used as a good marker for the glomerular filtration rate, because it can be used as GFR marker, because it is not synthesized in the body, it is completely filtered by the kidneys and it is excreted in urine. So that is why this inulin can be used as a best marker for the glomerular filtration rate. So another homopolysaccharide example is chitin. Chitin is found in the crustaceans, lobsters, crabs and shrimps. See the crab external side, if you see, there is a hard material which is protecting the body of the crab or body of the insects. Let's say you take the cockroach body, top side there is a thick material present protecting the cockroach body, that is made up of chitin. Even crustaceans, crabs, shrimps also, even prawns also, the external coating is very thick. They are made up of some shells. That shell is made up of chitin only. Chitin is a carbohydrate which is made up of which is a homopolysaccharide carbohydrate. So insects, mushrooms and some fungus, they have this chitin as an external coating, which is also an example for homopolysaccharide, which is also an example for homopolysaccharide. Similarly, agar is obtained from some seaweeds. So from the seaweeds, this agar is isolated. This is also an example for homopolysaccharide. So with this we have completed the examples for homopolysaccharides. Examples for homopolysaccharides include starch, cellulose and glycogen. These 3 are called as glucosomes, whereas inulin is a fructosome, is also an example for homopolysaccharide. Similarly, chitin, agar are also examples of homopolysaccharides.